You know, it's another Monday, and I got music playing in the background, and we don't know if you actually hear it because we're playing around with stuff again. Welcome, everybody, to the Rant Network, your podcast for unfiltered, go-to, unapologetic discussions. Hosted by myself, Stuart Brisgell, David Solomon, as we tackle a diverse range of topics. With candid conversation, hold opinions, whether it's breaking down the latest headlines, exploring pop culture, debating politics, or delving into the complexities of modern life. We offer a platform for every perspective. So grab a seat, settle in, and join us on this journey of thought-provoking rants and meaningful discussions. Welcome to the Rant Network, where no topic is off limit. As David was tooling around with his Justin Trudeau bobblehead. Yep. Yeah, hey, David, you know, you look like him with the mouth wide open. All right.
I know, it's kind of scary, right?
It is. You know, there's been a double boost this morning in Canada. One, that the not respected Prime Minister, little Justin Trudeau, allegedly maybe to be nominated for the 51st state for United States, or maybe it's because the Canadian dollar is rallying on the fact that he actually may resign in advance to the January 8th National Caucus. Now, let's be honest, President Trump was mulling over a less aggressive tariff that had Justin Trudeau on the birdie to Mar-a-Lago in Florida that would have you think that maybe he's trying to, you know, calm down Donald J before he takes office and eviscerate Canada and turn it into the 51st state. But, you know, Canadians don't like to hear that. And I don't exactly disagree. It is kind of nasty. But when you got a prime minister like Trudeau running around, the second generation failure family in politics, you know, I don't know, David, this is your backyard. So I'm going to let you sort of rant a little bit about it.
Well, thank you, Stuart, because I got to tell you, it's happy days might be starting here in 2025. Let's get real. Justin Trudeau has been an absolute sham, Stuart, sham, as prime minister. And time again, people are saying, well, you know, and making excuses for good old JT. But Justin's like, it finally hit the skids. And the big part was last fall or late last fall when he tried to force his then finance minister, Chrystia Freeland, to pass this wacky doodle financial idea. Okay, get a load of this. So Canada, I've talked about, was projected to have a $40 billion deficit in 2024. Instead, it's $60 billion. So we're $20 billion over budget. Now, folks, imagine, if you will, you made a budget and you spent 50% more than you took in. And then you told everybody, good news, let's spend more. How are we going to spend more? We're going to send everybody a $200, $50 check if you made over a certain amount of money, if you had certain this, and it was going to be another $6 billion of cash sent out to people, otherwise known as bribery. Well, that was shut down. Fortunately, his coalition government with the socialist NDP party shut it down. But then, this other bird brain scheme of eliminating the federal sales tax on beer and chips during the holidays, kind of give everybody a holiday, diapers and all that stuff, because, families need a little bit of extra money. And let me tell you, 5% can go a long way, but that means it's $5 for every $100 you're spending. Seniors weren't entitled to it. And if you worked for yourself, you weren't entitled to it. So Justin was playing again with money, trying to say how good a guy he was. And that was the straw that broke Chrystia Freeland's back. And this was where finally people woke up and said, you know what, Justin, it's time for you to walk away. We have 342 ridings here in Canada, Stuart. And the way our political system works, unlike the United States, is we don't vote for the prime minister. It's as if whoever would win Congress becomes the leader, and that's what we have. That's the parliamentary system in Canada we've adopted from the British. And right now, if you look at it today, the Conservatives are looking at a landslide victory similar to what just happened south of the border. But Stuart, what Justin Trudeau is doing as prime minister resembles Joe Biden. And whoever is his successor is likely to be the next Kamala Harris. Even if it's Mark Carney, the former governor of Canada, his chances, the ideology, the woke ideology that is so embedded in the Liberal Party, Stuart, is a disaster. So let me ask you this question before I continue my rant. Knowing what you know how the Democrats lost the election and the way they lost the election, if you were to advise the next leader of Canada, the next Liberal leader of Canada, how to run the election, let's say you, because in all likelihood, with you not really knowing what's going on in Canada, you're probably right on the money.
You know, I think that this has been charged all over the world, and the world has decided that insanity doesn't belong in our lives. And most of these leaders that are trying to be altruistic and seem to be big fans of crazy movies, thinking that women in sports and dogs and having the tampons in men's bathrooms and all this insane stuff needs to come to an end. If you feel that you're a duck, that's good. I don't care. Just don't bother me with it. I'm not changing the walkways so that ducks can walk up and down the street. You know, there's certain things that we've got to sort of hold true, and that is, you know, United States, Canada, the world is based off of certain Christian Judeo morals that have governed us. And the experiment called the United States of America, the longest experiment that's successful thus far, seems to prove that common sense in Canada should probably fall into line as being the third longest experiment. Now, the difference in Canada and the United States is you're right. Canada is a parliamentary system, and the United States is a true republic. Very, very different by nature and governance, but all the same when it comes to the people that live in Canada, live in the United States. I don't want to be bothered. I don't want to be bothered. Let's be honest with you. And I think everyone sort of knows this with stupidity, things that are just irrelevant. Like, I don't want to know about the 0.001% of the population and how they're disenfranchised. And now we're going to take 99.9% of the population and make them suffer as a result. I don't think this works. I think Trudeau is just someone who fell off a Duncan tree, and he really needs to just walk away and let someone who's more of a moderate, someone who's more of a realist, someone that lives in the modern world govern. Because I think Canada's a great country. I think there's great people from Canada, David. You're from Canada. I don't think you're half bad most of the time, except when you try and pick on me, and then I'm going to get angry with you. But we're not going that way. That was last year. We're in a new year. But David, why hasn't he done this before? You know, there's been a call.
But hold on. Here's something I want to plant in your head. Let me plant something in your head, okay? Because you didn't really answer the question, which is you could be a politician like that. But the reason I'm throwing this question out at you is because if you look at the G7 countries right now that are out there, there have been some radical changes, my friend, in these governments, okay? Namely, of course, we saw the big election in the United States and in the UK, where the country literally flipped on its head in a majority. Japan just went through it. Germany is about to go through it. Italy changed just not that long ago. Okay, if you look at if you look at other countries, okay, they are right now teetering on political change. And what people are not paying attention to is that, you know, Justin Trudeau and Emmanuel Macron, the two leaders who've been there the longest since the G7, because there's been so many changes. Macron's life is political life is in nature, and now Trudeau's done. And what ends up happening is because of the disenfranchised, people are disenfranchised. They're so fed up. And what I asked you was, what would you advise the Liberal leader? Is the reason I'm asking that is because it's simple. The problems facing Canada is the problems facing all these countries. The economy is crap. People cannot afford homes. Okay? People can't afford food on the table. Crime is through the roof in Canada. Okay, we're the auto capital theft. It's unbelievable the amount of cars that are being stolen and being shipped to the Middle East. You can't imagine what's going on here. All right, immigration. The policy in Canada, immigration is different than the United States. Right. There was a brilliant idea of growing our population through immigration. That's why we went north of 40 million. Hold on. That's why wait. The key to this one is we went north of 40 million because we're taking in over 400,000 immigrants per year, but there are no jobs for them. There's no infrastructure for them. And so the goal is these crazy people thought by the end of this century, they want us to be at 100 million people. Now, or even after that. And I'm like, in what world does this make any goddamn sense? Stuart got himself a new toy.
No, I wanted to blow an air horn because you're on a roll, but I want to stop that roll and blow some hot air up Trudeau's ass. Listen, like I said, no one likes to see. David, I think I want to bring this back to a humanoid type of conversation. Everyone walks down the street, whether you're in Montreal, Toronto, Miami, Florida, or New York, and sees someone less fortunate. We all feel for that person. Some of us throw change into a bag for them or a box or buy an apple or an orange or do something kind. We all want to do something kind for someone less fortunate. The problem, David, isn't the fact that every Canadian American or every person doesn't feel this way. It's the methods in which they try to resolve the problem. I reach in my pocket and I give $1. You reach in your pocket, you give 50 cents. Trudeau goes in his pocket and says, fuck you. I'm giving not my money. I'm going to give your money away. And I'm going to give you $50. And that's where lies the problem.
Let me help our, can I help our listeners? Let me help our listeners and take what you just said, and because people are going to say, oh, they're those stupid nagging conservative guys all over again. But let me give you a couple of ideas, folks, for what Stuart is saying, okay? He tried to bail out a hydroelectric project in Newfoundland, which should have never been built, never make money if it is ever finished, and he put in $5.2 billion into that. Gone. He pledged $2.65 billion at the Commonwealth Leadership Summit to fight climate change, even though Canada's massive wetlands, farmland, and vast forests act as a carbon sink. It makes 0 sense. He pledged $840 million to Syrian humanitarian aid, but not a cent towards the indigenous population of Canada that needs it for clean drinking water. He imposed these crazy, crazy taxes all over the place. He attempted to hand over an unneeded contract of $1 billion after Trudeau's mother and brother received around $300,000 from the We Charity from their gigs. Okay, and on and on and on and on. He spent money that we just don't have. He bankrupted Canada. And at the same time, Stuart, here's a politician who over his 9 years, we've watched the productivity rate in this country drop to a point where people don't want to invest in Canada.
Yep.
So thank you very much, Justin.
Look, like I said, people have had enough with the insanity. David, you're going about it from a Canadian perspective viewpoint.
Shouldn't I? It's my country, no?
and I'm giving it from looking at it from the outside in. And it's not as a conservative. I'm an American. There's no question I'm an American. And whether you're a conservative or a liberal, you're an American in my country. And you're a Canadian in your country. And I think the political bias and divisiveness, which was fun and created in the 80s, more so than any other year, and then blew up in the 90s, is something that is wrong. And I think that we failed to recognize that you're a Canadian, David, first, before you are a conservative or a liberal. And in the United States, I'm an American before I'm a Democrat or a Republican. And I think that common sense is what is missing in our lives today. And I think that common sense, David, would bring the guys like Justin Trudeau out of the limelight and into the shadows where they belong. David, last word before we wrap it up.
I love the words you use, common sense, because that's what the conservatives use as their platform, which, by the way, it's interesting. The Trump administration, Trump election campaign picked up on that and said, hey, why don't we use common sense? And that has been lacking in Canada for a very long time. So thankfully, if and when, Trudeau resigns today, tomorrow, whenever it's going to be, I think Canadians will be happy because they're fed up of the BS. They're fed up of it. And you know what, Stuart? It's going to be a very, very radical change in Canada, very much like what you just saw in the United States. People are tired of being told how to act, how to be, how to whatever. I think happier days are ahead finally in Canada. And you know what? Ironically, they're still talking here about we need a good liberal leader to fight, Donald Trump's tariff attack. And the same day that Trump and his administration going, we're not going after 25%. We're going to go after a smarter tariff system. Just goes to show you how people here just can't handle the need for real change. But that's the media for you. Right. And I'm going to go off on a whole other rant.
So you don't get so off topic in the news today. You're hearing all the doom and gloom and get worried that Trump guys are coming in is all over every single newscast, whether you're listening to Bloomberg, whether you're on Reuters network like I am on LSEG, whether you're listening to ABC, NBC, or CNN or MSN lost to NBC. I got to be honest with you. It's just absolutely hilarious. And I give you a nice round of applause.
All right, Stuart, let's say goodbye. Let's say goodbye. Bye.
Let's bring this Another Rant episode network to the close. I can't even speak. We truly appreciate you tuning in and sharing some time with us. Your support and engagement means everything as we continue to foster open, honest, thought-provoking conversations. Don't forget, we're here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern. Stay connected to us through your social media channels. Let us know by liking, loving, sharing, and subscribing, or PM us on any topic you'd like to hear us discuss. Your feedback helps us shape this community and keep the conversation alive. Thank you once again for joining in. Until next time, keep the rants passionate, as David always does. Keep the discussions vibrant, as David seems to be doing, and the ideas flowing, something that David has always been doing for us. Take care, and we'll see